record on this computer. Okie dokie, everybody. So welcome to lesson 7. So this is going to go through some of the stuff that we've already been through, but I make no apologies for that because we know that we need to literally listen to it over and over and over again. Now, the last lesson that we were on was environment is but our looking glass, and that was all about our self-image and how we're literally reflecting into the world and what we want to see. I mean, the idea is that if you want something to change and you try to change the mirror, it's just not going to happen. You have to change yourself. And so just to go back is to get that more in our head about the law of cause and effect. That's the sort of stuff that I'm going to go right back to and link it all together. So we all know what a paradigm is. Just to remind, a mental program that's almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. I was talking today to somebody and they're going, they're that busy in the outside world, literally working on all these different programs, but he wasn't sorted in his head. And I'm saying, your business is your mind. Your business is people. It's not processes. So, because if you take the people out of the business, there's it doesn't matter how good the process is. It's how good the operator of that process is. And, like a computer can't run a process if the program's crap. So it really does depend. What's going on in your head is the starting point of absolutely everything. So just to make sure that that's where you've got to start, first of all, everything is literally in our heads. We've got to get things going. Remember that the paradigms are stuff that you don't even know about because you've had stuff filtered in from today and you've stuff filtered in from generations and generations. You really, when you hear some people speaking, and I know that because you'll have learned so much information to get up to level 7 that you can see people's paradigms talking. Now, if you get upset or you're angry at somebody or anything, if you try and solve a problem from that area, you're talking in your paradigm. And there's no point in having the conversation. So you may as well either take a nap, go for a walk, watch a motivational movie, and do not think about the problem again until you've raised yourself back up above your paradigm. Because let me tell you, if you're in a reaction mode, that's your paradigm going on overdraft, and feeding the paradigm with more information just makes it go absolutely crazy. So remember these laws, okay? So the law of that everything is mind. The first one, everything is mind. And there's lots of different books out there, and this will start to come through. But just trust me, because it's just, I don't know how to explain it right here, right now, but everything is mind. And it's everywhere. There isn't, like, fish don't know that they're swimming in water. And so say like you wanted to change your radio station, so Radio 1, and you wanted it to be Rock FM. Like, you don't have to go out to get Rock FM, do you? And go open the door and go and drag in Rock FM and actually listen to it. It's there. You just tune it in. That's exactly the way our brains are working, because thoughts are things and they're everywhere. You think that there's space between us. Science shows us that there is no space. So literally the thoughts are there, and we can pull on lots of different thoughts. But if we're at the ground floor of the shard and we're trying to find information that we need to be on the top floor, you're never going to see it in a month of Sundays. The law of correspondence is just basically that everything is here right now. Nothing is created or destroyed. Everything is here right now. It's just that, like, so whenever the Wright brothers were looking to build an airplane and know how to fly, they didn't have to create it. They had to figure it out. It was already there. They just had to figure out how to use it, how to use the laws to make a plane fly. The law of vibration, we know that everything is energy. The law of polarity is there's a right and a left, and up and a down. You are just as connected with the outside world because there's an inside and an outside. So don't forget that. The law of rhythm means that, like a tide, flows in, flows out. But that's the same as us. It could be we have good days, bad days, good days, bad days. But, we can go from there to there, or we can find a balance that's a bit more up here, which is what we're looking for. But there'll always be rhythm in your life, just like your heartbeat. Cause and effect, you are the cause of everything that happens in your life. And when we go into the terror barrier stuff, because that's what the next lesson is going to be, is all about, is the terror barrier. And if we're messing around in effects, we're like messing around in stuff that's already happened. So remember I said that the MRI scan was that somebody was putting the MRI scan, choose the buttons right or left, and it was literally the guy who's looking at the results was 6 to 10 seconds ahead of the game. The guy's brain was actually showing that a choice had been made. And the guy who made, when he made the choice, his literally conscious mind was 6 to 10 seconds behind. Okay. So, and the law of gender is basically, it's gestation, and it's like there is basically a time whenever something will happen. But if we're spending our time, okay, so if we like plant a seed, you know, so mind is like the soil, and we put our ideas in as seeds, okay? But we understand that law of growth, don't we? We don't go and figure out, well, how's the soil working with that seed, and how's that seed being pulled apart and grows into whatever. We don't dig it up. I mean, if we kept digging it up and looking at it, I mean, it's just not going to grow, is it? But that's what we do with our ideas. Why isn't it here? Why isn't it here? Why isn't it here? And you're just holding everything back. So you do your visualization in the morning, visualization at night time, but during the day, you're digging up the bloody seed. It's just, you gotta leave it alone. It's literally let go and trust that it's actually happening. You trust in your subconscious. So it was just to remind you about that. And whenever you do get in any sort of situation where you're over anxious, remember that you're like choking yourself. That's what it's like. You know, anything where you've got sort of, you know, grief and fear or anger or whatever, and it's all like down here, and you're feeling, say you're feeling guilty about something, you are causing yourself to suffer. I loved the story of, there were two monks walking along, and they weren't allowed to touch women or do anything with women. And they, you know, there was a woman that came across, and they standing at a stream, and a woman came up, and she goes, oh my goodness, how am I going to get across there? I'm going to get swept away, because it was really, really flowing so greatly, and she was only tiny. So the elder monk literally picked the girl up, put her over his shoulder, and walked across, and the other monk followed. And he was thinking, what the heck? What are you doing that for? And so he put her down at the other side. She said, thank you. And off she went on her journey. And then they carried on. The two monks carried on their journey. Now, the younger monk was going, why did he do that? Why did he do that? Oh my God. Like, and he literally was just for the next hour, he was like going mad in his brain, going, oh my goodness, we're not supposed to touch women, blah, 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 blah. And he went on, he was driving himself mad till he had to say something to the elder. He goes, elder, why did you pick up that woman? We're not supposed to touch women. And he said, well, I put her down an hour ago. Why have you still been holding on to her? Isn't that amazing? How many times do we hold on to stuff, and it makes us contract down here, which means we can't get any new information, and which means all we see is our paradigm. All we see is our paradigm here. Now, this is really important to remember when we come to the terror barriers to what is happening. We are down here and we are contracted. We are on the ground floor of the shard. Okay, we cannot see any more than that. Let me just, so remember, your thoughts matter. You know, make your mind matter. That is like so amazing thing, because thoughts become matter. Okay, so thoughts crystallize into habits, which solidify into something, into matter or circumstances or whatever. So make your mind matter. You are what you think about all day long. You've really, really got to catch every single thought and ask yourself, is this getting me to where I want to be? 100%. So we all know the diagram of the mind. So this is taking us into orders, obviously not the mind, but it gives us some order and an idea of just going, the top bit is the conscious, this bit here is the subconscious, and then you have your body that's here. But we're so filled with doubts and insecurities. Can I do it? I mean, I just had an example today. It was quite funny. So I'll just let you into a secret. We got a little kitten, and we only decided this morning, because I nearly went to stroke a duck. And the duck was just like, I was like, this is getting really bad. I need to get animals back in my life. I need to have, when I'm on the computer, I like to have my animals around me. And we haven't got any around us at the moment. So we went to get a kitten. But before we went, so we made the decision, and then Wolfgang's going, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I said, how often do we do that? We make a decision, and then we question it. Then we go and ask other people, and then they question it. And you just sort of go, Oh, that's it. Like, I'm just like blown away. If you made a decision, just stick to it. You just never know. And I said, well, how often does that happen in stuff that you do? And he was saying like, well, no, it doesn't. And I said another time, and he was just like, oh, right. Yeah, I did it then as well. And I said, well, how often are you doing it that you don't even realize that you're doing it? Like if you're in a meeting, you make a decision and then you start questioning yourself. You know, how often do we do that because we're not paying attention? So that's what lives, that's our basically our paradigm. You know, we make a decision and we get emotionally involved in it. It drops into our subconscious mind and that's it. You know, our paradigm takes over and Bob's your uncle. We're right back to where we started again. So remember that you are this absolutely amazing person, okay? 100% amazing person. And it's about letting that out. It really is about letting this out 100%. It's all the doubts and insecurities that are covering it up. It's like literally a big blanket that comes right over us, okay? And we just need to throw them off and literally let go. And, you know, I know that a couple of us have been doing you know, like the release and the freedom and the forgiving. You know, when you do that, you even forgive yourself every day for being an idiot and not realizing just how absolutely perfect you are. So again, a reminder that what we think, we will feel and get emotionally involved in will cause a certain vibration, which will cause us to act in a certain way, which will get a reaction from the universe, which will create all our results. You know, and this is what we've got to do. So I was mentoring somebody else today and they are saying, you know, well, what, you know, when I come with an idea, you know, what are you going to say? And I'm going to ask, I said, well, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about it? Why do I know the answer to his problems? He knows the answer to his problems. I'm only giving him my opinion, which is clouded with all my doubts and insecurities about what I can achieve. So then I give him my answer based on his thoughts and feelings and all his insecurities. And so he's got to know that he's in alignment with everything. And if you think that you're in alignment, then look at your actions. Because if you're still not getting the results, you need to go, well, what are my actions? Are these the actions of a leader? Are these the actions of whoever it is that I want to be? You know, if I was this person, what would I be doing today? And you've got to take those actions. They're the actions that you've got to take, not just go, oh, well, I can feel it inside. No, you've got to take the action that is in alignment with being that person that you say you are. Otherwise, you're just stuck in a circle. Just stuck in that circle. So one of the biggest things is, and this it'll be, you know, really what we've got to do in the terror barrier is these 5 senses are, remember I said cause and effect. So the cause is inside you in your thoughts and the effect is outside. Now the effect is where your 5 senses are coming from. Okay, so if the effects are not what you like, you need to shut these off. Because these are giving you information which is in cahoots with your paradigm and you're trying to think and feel something new and different. And you're really, you know, that's where, you know, if you don't learn to shut off your 5 senses, and because that's how we've lived all our lives, it's, you know, I understand it takes a while, but it can take as long as you use your desire to go, this is not happening anymore. Don't fight it. Just stop fighting it. Okay. It's the hardest thing to do if you fight, like turning off your senses. I mean, you're having 2 fights then. The thing is just to let go and just give up and just go, do you know, and absolutely just let go of all of this. So, and go and do something else until you're in a better frame of mind, until you're in a better vibration, and then put the new model in and just keep doing that new thought over and over again till you start to see different results. That's the only thing you've got to do. It literally is work that you've just got to keep going on and going on. Now, remember when we said about our A, B, and C type goals, so really it is the C type goal that we're looking for. And we need that because we need that to be attached to a why that will make you cry, a why that if I said, right, well then stop doing the work. Just stop it. Don't do it anymore. That you would go, no, this, I've got this, you know? So basically you've got no choice but to keep going. Now, if it's just a plan or if it's just, you know how to do it, that's dead easy. You'd go, yeah, you're right. But you've got this set in your mind. So, and this has to have a why that's totally, so your desire is going to eat up that paradigm, because that is what's going to kill the paradigm. That's what's going to stop the procrastinating, stop the, when you get into turmoil, that you use your desire. Your desire is the answer to all your problems. Because if you had your desire, the current problem in your life would not be happening. So you've got to just go back to the desire, play the music that you've got attached to it, whatever it is, just go back to the desire. Now, we spoke before about, you know, when you make a decision to go for your goal, okay, but what do? Is then we start thinking from the results that we're in currently now. You've got to literally make a committed decision, no back door, and keep yourself up here. You've got to keep up here with your goal. Your level down here at the bottom of the shard, you can't see any answers from there. It's got to be from the top of the shard where you can see everything that you need to see. So that was just a reminder, because it leads in really specifically to the terror barrier as to why it happens. And you've just got to, it's worth just reminding yourself. I do this to myself all the time, literally reminding myself where I need to be. So this is where it is, you know, and I've written some notes on here for myself because I didn't want to miss out on this. So do not underestimate the power of your paradigm. I mean, literally do not underestimate the power of this, and do not underestimate the power of the terror barrier, because it will stop everything. Okay. So, you know, and if you're not having terror barriers, I mean, like massive ones, you know, because we'll all have small ones. I mean, get over that. That's no big deal. That's fine. You know, I'm all right with it. If you're not having absolute panic attacks and worry, fear, and anxiety, your goal isn't big enough. So the next time you have a panic attack about what's happening, you know, it doesn't matter if it's to do with your goal or not. It's circumstances that are happening in your life. Just know that your paradigm is throwing hell and fire at you to stop you from thinking that you're any better, or that you can do better, or that you can get out of the situation that you're in. Your paradigm is holding you there. Okay, so I've written, just let me read my notes. It can be as simple as you make a decision, and then you start to question that decision, and then you will find things to support your questioning. That's what's so amazing, because you're going, so the people don't know they're in bondage because they have an X thought, they have an X in their, you know, in their subconscious feelings, and it's all linked to the vibration in the body. So they take X action and they get X results. And so they're in this lovely little world, and they think they're right about everything. So everybody is right because that's their world, and they are right in their world. And that's one of the things that I had to really learn to do, was to stop that judgment. And, you know, actually I'll show you maybe some pictures after, if I do it on this one, or I'll do it on the next week. But really understanding that judgment at this point of anybody that you can see that they're in bondage, they're in, is that actually that they're okay in their own world. They have to see to get out of it. If they don't see how to get out of it, then do you know what? Their world is their world, and it's just your opinion and your perception of their world. And so whenever you then change your idea, so you put a why idea in, so this is your new idea. And if you don't get emotionally involved, then there's no problem. There's no problem whatsoever. So like I say, if you're not having problems and you're thinking of your new results, then you haven't emotionalized them. You haven't emotionalized them if you're not having a terror barrier moment. Yeah, because once you start to put the why idea and get emotionally involved in it, this is where all hell kicks off, because your senses are screaming, no, it's not right. Look, I can't see this and I can't see that. Do you see? You could be up here, you know, at the top here with your goal, and then, you know, next minute you're at the bottom because you're busy like looking around here because you're in worry and doubt. You can't see a thing when you're in worry and doubt at all. Okay, so you hit the terror barrier, you go right back and go, actually, it's better and safer down here. It's not safer down here in any shape or form. You think you're safe in here, you are not safe in there. And I'm going to read you something about this after. So you should feel, this is good. Oh my God, I'm in a terror barrier moment. It is completely unrelated to my goal, but this is what my paradigm is putting up a fight and wants me to, you know, to retract. You'll be even sadder if you can't go back, to be honest, but I have seen people go back and they talk themselves into here, and they talk themselves a really good story that it's okay here, and I just go, that's fine, there's nothing I can do about that. You know, I can't persuade anybody to come out if they don't want to come out. People have got to want this themselves. So this is where, you know, the bondage, the idea, you're having your absolute terror barrier moment. And now you finally, if you hold on and you do the work, and you will crash through the terror barrier, you've got to shut down these senses. Then when you allow them to open again, you start, it's like peeking open one eye and just sort of go, oh my God, I can see it now. This is where the freedom is. This is why the paradigm shift that you get with this work does not go back to here. Whenever you do any normal coaching program, we're dealing with, you know, short-term results, absolutely short-term results, because none of them are working. They're working on giving you more knowledge, more strategies, more plans, more things to do. But if you're not just doing this simple, basic work of what we're doing in this program, you just have it stuck here, absolutely stuck here. And if you do not understand it, then you end up going back here again. That is what happens in normal training courses. You get a new idea and then you're right back here in bondage again. And so people will get results for like maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, but then they will lose it again. You know, I've not seen anybody have more results than 3 months in a row. In fact, I normally say it's like a 1 month in a row, 1 month, and then literally right back in again. So when you go really, really high, you know, you go really, really low, and then you think, well, what is it? It must just be me. But you balance out in a certain way. When you do this work with Bob Proctor, you end up here on the other side at freedom. And it is the freedom that will literally just, you can feel it happening in your body, completely feel it happening in your body. And this is what we're looking for, because it does not go back. But then here's what happens. The why idea then becomes your paradigm. So you have a desire to grow again, because as soon as you get somewhere, you want to do something else. And I mean, and I know that for every goal I've had, because as soon as I've had it, I'm like, okay, what's next? Like, I had a goal all my life to ride in the Grand Canyon, to ride in Las Vegas. And, you know, it was so exciting going there, you know, in the bus going there and everything. And then when I got on the horse and I rode and I went, oh, I see. Oh my God, I've done it. Oh, what's next? I swear to God, that was me. I could hardly enjoy where I was because I was that busy thinking of what was I doing next. So we're always growing, always growing. So that's something to think about. So I'm going to read some, let me see if I can put just my face on here, the speaker one. Let's see. Oh no, that's you, Amanda. I'm going to put just me, I wanted. How do I do that? There we go. I can't do that. How do I? Never mind. You're here anyway. So, oops, daisy. Put my ears back in. So, risk taking. So this is where I said, where people think here, you know, in bondage, that I've been moving my hands around and everything, and I realized that nobody probably saw me doing my diagrams. So so we think, oh, it's safer here to stay in bondage. We think safety and security is here and doing a 9-to-5 job. And then do you know what happens? Do you know, like whenever people have a mortgage, you know, at the end of the day, a mortgage, you're just renting from the bank. Isn't it quite funny? So it's not actually you own anything. And a lot of people get to 65 and they think they own their house, they own their car, and actually they're all still on payment plans, so they're renting everything. And what do you do with that pension that you've got at the end? Like, nobody's going to survive on that when you eventually get there. So it's just like, if you think that that's safety and security, that, you know, anyway. So the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing, does nothing, thus has nothing. I mean, like, it really is that, isn't it? You know, and it begins with the pattern of playing safe. How many times, I remember that as a child, that somebody, my friends and I said, because we didn't really get up to much mischief, you know, we literally had our little parties and stuff like that, but we really didn't do anything wrong. And my friends, when we were older, we were in our late 20s, and we says, oh my God, you know what our trouble was? We played it too safe. That was our time to do what the hell we wanted, and really we'd have all the excuses. But anyway, there you go. So many of the greatest lessons you'll receive in life are going to come from falling. from your failures. Like nobody ever said, oh, I learned a really good lesson because this good thing happened to me. Nobody learned a thing, you know. And I don't know if anybody saw my video on Facebook, and it was a live, and it said I'm the greatest failure because, you know, I've had more no's said to me than anything. And it's just like, the more no's you have, that's great, because, you know, Edison, like 10,000 attempts to create a light bulb, but he had to know 10,000 ways of how not to do something. So that's how we literally work our way to, because we need to understand the stuff here. And I love what Bob said one time, is that, you know, spirit always, it has to create a void to be able to fill it. So that's why it looks like it's a negative thing, first of all, but it's because there's something great up here. And if there's no void to fill, there's nothing to do. So it seems like, you know, when we think something is negative, we've got to look and say, well, the positive is there, but we spend our time focusing on the negative, but that's just the void to be able to fill up the space. So that's what I love about that. So we're still talking about risk taking. So I can is far more important than IQ. Love it. Love that statement. Why is it that we do not see the process of reaching our goals as having steps similar to the ones the baby must take in order to learn to walk? There will be some stumbling and falling in the learning process, but success can only be reached when we're prepared to take these steps. All of them, even the ones where we may fall down. So we certainly don't say to children, you know, like they take a couple of steps and fall, and they take a couple of steps and fall. Oh, sure, look, you're no good at that. You better stop that now. You better just sit down for the rest of your life. But we do it then the rest of our lives, don't we? You know, you must turn your back on safety and security. To make it big, you must take big risks. You will very likely have to put yourself in a highly vulnerable position. It is also worth remembering you cannot almost take a risk. Like the terror barrier isn't almost going through the terror barrier. You either go through it or you don't, and you either take a risk or you don't, and that is all about decision making. Sum up, I thought, you know, like, I mean, these are some articles that are actually in your workbook anyway, but I'm just picking out some key things that I loved, and it's the common denominator of success. And there's some things here that are really pertinent for the terror barrier. So if the secret of success lies in forming the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do, let's start with the boiling down the process by determining what are the things that failures don't like to do. So the things that failures don't like to do are the things that you and I and other human beings, including successful people, naturally don't like to do. In other words, we've got to realize right from the start that success is something which is achieved by the minority of people and is therefore unnatural, and not to be achieved by following our natural likes and dislikes, nor by being guided by our natural preferences and prejudices. Wow. So stop when we think, oh, that's something, oh, I'm not in alignment with that, you know, because no, you're not, because your paradigm is you've had a thought in your head. There's two different things here. So there's one where, so to give an example, right, I went to a coaching masterclass weekend. And the first day I was like, oh, I should do this program. I should do this. I should do this. But it felt illogical, but I felt sick about it. Yeah. Now the next day, Andy Harrington came in, and oh my God, that was illogical because it was coming up with $2,500 that I did not have, but I had a whole different feeling of illogical where actually I was aligned in it, but my logical brain was going, what the hell are you doing? But my whole body, it was like the opposite way round. So the other way, I think I've just clarified it for myself. Oh my God, I'm just trying to figure out what it was before, and now I'm just saying that I've got it. So it's like, if your head is going, I want to do that, but your body, you know, this is, you know, whatever, but your body is saying something else, then that's generally, you know, what you're wanting to, well, I've lost it again now. Did you get it the first time? So there's two different things going on. So there's one that's right and one that's wrong. So it's just like, basically, don't follow logic. You know, if your whole body's excited and your head's going, this, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? This is illogical. Great. Because your creative mind has just exploded with excitement. Okay. So don't follow logic. Don't go, oh, well, I normally like to do this, you know, and here's something. It's like, I'm actually, let me see. There's something else I want to read that's really good. Oh no, let me see. I highlighted this. Anyway, never mind. I'll find it again. So perhaps, perhaps you have wondered what is behind the peculiar lack of welcome on the part of those that we're trying to persuade. Isn't it due to the fact that all our prospects are human too? And isn't it true that the average human being is highly resistant to change, even when it is for their own improvement, and is therefore prone to escape our efforts to persuade them to do something they don't want to do by striking at the most important weakness and we possess, namely our desire to be appreciated? Wow, that's quite hard hitting, that, isn't it? So real close look at yourself is that, to, you know, why don't we try and persuade somebody to do what we think it is, because we're actually trying to get people to like us at the same time. So there's no way that you're going to do this. But I love this one here. This is what I was looking for. It was right in front of me. Successful people are influenced by the desire for pleasing results. Failures are influenced by the desire for pleasing methods and are inclined to be satisfied with the results. So the next time you're thinking of doing something, oh, I don't really like that, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, and so you shy away from it, that's probably the thing that you're supposed to do. The thing that's going to give you a terror barrier moment is what's going to drive your results and make you better, because you're actually having to look inside yourself for more resources. So the big thing here is, with the terror barrier, is the cause and effect. Okay, let me go back to this, because there was some things on here that I wanted to make sure. Right. Let me see. So with the terror barrier, I'll go back to cause and effect. So cause and effect, what are we trying to change? If we go back to how everything is created, okay, everything is created from mind, from the unseen. So this cup, somebody thought about it, they drew it on a piece of paper, they made it happen. An aeroplane, the new phone, it all started in somebody's head. Everything we see has started in somebody's head. It has come from the unseen. So even the daffodils, like, they're there for the spring. Where are they the rest of the time? They're unseen. And then they just grow. So everything comes from the unseen. But when we're trying to change, so that's the cause, and we see the effects. So the effects are secondary. But what is it we're trying to change most of the time? We're trying to change the effects. That's not the place to change anything. You've got to come back to yourself, visualize. You've got to visualize. You've got to center yourself, because your vibration, your centering, is the most important thing that you can do. 98% of your work is that you're centered, and 2% is the action that you take. You've got to take action, but you must do it from a place of centered and calm and tranquility and decision and intention, etc., etc. But because if we try to go to effects and we try and change people, we try and change circumstances, you know, and we haven't sorted ourselves out, first of all, we're just going to run into exactly the same stuff again, over and over again. We're just going to be in that circle over and over again. Now, to really get, I love this bit here. Now, whether I'm going to blow your brains with science, whatever, but you know, you can go and search it out anytime. So space and time. Okay, so let's go into science. So you can check this out. So science has proven that there is no space. Okay, so everything between me and this computer, me and you, is like dark matter. There's stuff going on in it, like I said before. So like fish don't realize that they're swimming in water. We don't realize that we're literally walking and breathing in this, in whatever it is that we're in. There isn't actually any space. Now, for space and time to exist, I love this. So if I am confusing you, no, it won't. You're going to get it. You're going to get it really well. So for space and time to exist, so let's have a look at time first of all. If we have time, and we literally go, for there to be time, it has to be because somebody has walked from A to B, or from me to get to here to the computer, a time will have elapsed, won't it? You know, like from yesterday to today, there's been a time that's elapsed. So from get to A to B, there's time. And so if there's time, then there's space. Okay? But what if there is no space? So what if there is no space? It means that there is no time. Okay? So if this blows your brain, go and research it. Okay? So if there's no time, doesn't it really, you know, that like the book, The Power of Now, what every coach is telling us, that there only is now. It means if there's no time because there's no space, there was no past, only what we hold on to, which causes us guilt. Then there's no future that we hold on to, which is causing us anxiety. There is only now, and every now is every next moment is created from the now that we're in right now. Remember the 50,000 cells of recognition? They are happening right now. So we don't have to change what's happened to us in the past because it's here right now. Just what are you holding on to? It's you holding on to it, like the monk with the lady. You know, what are you holding on to? Now, for me, that was a ground shaker, you know, for me to actually really understand. If that's gone over your head, that's fine. Whenever you hear this information again, then there's something, and also it may lead you to different reading material as well. So remember that disorder is in the mind. If you have disorder in your mind, which you will have when you're in the terror barrier, you will create disorder in your life. Okay, and again, it is the paradigm just throwing out situations to show you, listen, you're in disorder, you're in disorder, you're in disorder, and bring yourself back to order. It's up to you to come back to center and bring yourself back to order. And that is one of the, you know, the main thing to do there. So that's about it. And it's really, you know, like about bringing your mind back to order. Isn't about, you know, beating yourself up because, oh, I should know better, I should know this, I should know the other. It literally is about just understanding that, you know, I will get through this, you know, and realizing who you are. We're all life, you know, and it's just stories that we tell ourselves. So what story are you telling yourself? But do not underestimate the power of your paradigm and the terror barrier. But if you're having any bad attacks, it's great because you're getting shown something on a high scale. So I'm going to just stop the recording on that because then I can have a personal conversation. So it will be, I hope that sorted everything out on the terror barrier. That's your lesson for the next week. And it's like just understand it and understand yourself. And you will, yeah, this is one of the good things to understand when you're in a terror barrier. That's a good thing. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.